just trying to remember, you know, some of us, the youth today, we may not know what fire means. But to those of people of this age, they know what it means. So those days, there used to be fire where the elders could pass information from them, the elders, to the young generation. And this is what we are trying to bring up today, that somehow, somewhere, we need to see that there is that transition from the elders to the young people, which is lacking somehow, somewhere today. So today, our being here, let us assume that this is our fireplace. This is our what? Our fireplace. What they refer to as a choto. Is a choto. Are we together?
Yes.
So today we are going to have Father is going to share with us as we ask questions. In this session, you ask questions where you feel like you need explanation, still you will be explained too. But before that, we shall have a word from Esther and Madam Esther and Madam Teopista. They will be sharing with us. So let me invite Esther to say a word to us before we continue.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We are very happy, especially to the team from Uphill College.
Thank you.
I'm your OG. I once was there. Thank you so much, and I thank the administrators. They take them there as their prison. But we managed to get some who were supposed to go back home, and yet they refused and said, I can't go to that man you called my father. So our question today is, what is it that needs to be done? What is it missing? Is it with the parents? Is it with the elders? Is it with the children? Is it with the church? Is it with... So I don't want to preempt anything right now. Father has come to help us. Please, my prayer is that we can be as open as possible, because our presence here is on the behalf of many people who are out there. And the other thing is that many parents are afraid. They are scared. They are worried. How can we hand over to people who are not prepared? So by the time we called you here, it's not only about you, but it's about Uganda. When you are good and you've been handed over Uganda, it is a different thing. It's something good for the entire country. And I have here my colleague. She works with the mentor clients. Maybe she can also tell us the data she has on the people she has been helping for some time now. Madam Teopista can tell us.
Good evening, everybody. I'm happy that we are here together. I've been working, we have a foundation, take care of the mentally health people. So I've been with them for along about 15 years. But the problem I find most of them are the youth, between the age of 12 and 25. So when I heard that there's a discussion here about the mental health, I also want to come and find out, really, why is it the youth we are most involved in this problem? I've been with the children for a long time. Some are from homes and they don't want to talk about their parents. They hate their parents. And the parents also hate when they see that the children are misbehaving, they don't love them, they also hate them. But where really the problem, where does it come from? So I also want to come and share about that. Madam Topista Kawoya, I work in Namireme Farmers. I'm an intercessor for one of the intercessors for Plistici. And one of the activities for praying for Plistici, the sacrifice we do, is to look after and they do some charitable works. And in that's where we involve the mentally health people. So that's why I came also to join you and see how we can come about with some conclusion about that. Because many youth are disparate. They take marijuana, they take pombe, they stay on the streets. We don't know why. I've dated with them, as I told you, for about 15 years. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Madam Esther and Madam Teopista. Father, you're welcome back. Before you came back, they were giving a word and the reason as to why we are here explaining to the youth. Just maybe briefly, Father, this is the third session of the church here in Our Lady of Africa, Mbia. And the last two, we were sharing according to the call that Pope Francis made, that there is need for us to bridge the gap between the youth and the elderly. That was our theme for the last two sessions that we had. And today, our theme will be, why are many families breaking? It is alarming everywhere. Even people in very big offices today are crying because of violence in the family. Yesterday this very week I was watching a movie whereby a child was abused and she could not open up to the parents and tell them what happened. Instead, she was dying alone to an extent that she reached an extent of running away from home, but she cannot share what she's going through with the parents. So today, we want to share, why are many families breaking? And do we agree that they are breaking, or we don't agree? That is our area of discussion today. And we have our leader of the Good Samaritan in our community, Mbuya Parish. Let me invite him. Father, you're most welcome to share with us before we start asking the questions.
Good evening. I am Father Edward Kanyike Mayanja. I stay in Jinja in the postulancy of the Comboni missionaries. It means that I lead the community of seminarians who would like to become Comboni missionaries. But at the same time, I am the rector of the missionary seminary in Jinja called the PCJ. We have more than 12 congregations that send their seminarians to us to teach them philosophy and social studies before they go for theology or for the novitiate. So this is me. And I'm glad to be here. I was told by Father Dennis that there is a group here that would like to discuss about broken families. Broken families. It is true that families really are breaking up. In my own experience, just 2 years ago, we had 2 occasions. One was the introduction, another was the marriage, to the wedding that took place in Ntinda. And if you were there, you would see that a lot of efforts, a lot of money, a lot of things really were done to prepare those 2 occasions. Anyway, the 2 are already apart. The 2 are already apart. So there are many families breaking because people don't take seriously what we call the sacrament of matrimony. They don't take seriously marriage. And this is why I would like to go deep to see the roots of that. Why are families breaking up? Why are families breaking up? It is curious to see that in traditional Africa, where marriage used to be prepared by the elders, the parents, sometimes those going to get married wouldn't even know each other until time would come for them to get married. But it's curious to see that that kind of marriage used to last much longer than the marriage where the 2 spouses chose each other. And you ask yourself, how come that those who got married even without knowing each other could even stay for life together, and those who chose themselves at school, at work, or I don't know where, the marriage is not lasting? It breaks up easily. Why? Yeah, the reason is this. Traditional marriage used to be kept and protected by the whole family and sometimes the whole clan. The whole family and the whole clan used to protect the marriage. Instead here, there are only 2 people to protect the marriage. The 2 partners, only 2. Now, who are stronger? The 2 who get married, or the whole family and the whole clan? Sometimes, even what we do these days, saying that it is a tradition and so on, anyway, you can say that is based on tradition. You hear things like the people on the side of the husband telling the new wife or the bride, we shall keep you, don't worry. We shall protect you, don't worry. But do they really do so? In the old days, yes. Sometimes when the newly married would complain, they say, now if this is the case, I better go back. They would say, you don't mind about him. They are speaking about her husband. Don't mind about him. We love you. It means the family, the marriage is being kept by these people. Not just the 2 who get married. Because in Africa, when you get married, it is 2 families that are getting married. And sometimes it is even 2 clans that are getting married. So you can see the strength there. But now, the marriage that we witness today is just 2 people who marry each other. But this is copying something that came from outside Africa. In Europe, marriage is a business of 2 people. I was there and I know what I'm speaking about. It's a business of 2 people. Those who get married, the spouses. Here, you get married into a clan. You marry into a family. Now, Another point that would be really curious is this, that in the old days, people were not really looking at wealth, at beauty, at I don't know what, in order to choose a spouse. The family used to choose. And why? Because since this marriage is between families and between clans, now mutual knowledge was very, very important. No one wanted to get married into a family of bad people. No one wanted to give a daughter for marriage into a family of bad people. And no one wanted even to marry from a family of bad people. This is the reason why people go as far as telling their genealogy. We who are coming to marry here, we are so and so, grandchildren of so and so, grandchildren of so and so, grandchildren of so and so, and so on and so forth. So that the two families that are going to marry each other know very well that there wouldn't be any surprise. Say, I have been married into a family of night dancers. Such surprises were not really good in the past, because this mutual knowledge was there. And for me, this is one of the things that we should keep from our ancestors. One would know already, meaning the family would know that in that family there is a good girl. We have seen, we have spied around, we have seen, but not only the girl, the whole family. So we can get married into that family. These things are no longer there now. What you see people doing during the introduction has become a play. Just a play. A play on words, a play on proverbs, on play, I don't know, even a play on the Bible itself. You would think that these people are playing. Before, it was not like that. It was more serious. Before, there wouldn't be a man who has been hired to speak on behalf of the family, but he's not even a member of that family. He's just making money. And you find it two people who maybe know each other because it is a kind of a job for them. It's a business. Two people discussing marriage between the two families, but they know nothing of that family, of any of those families. They are just making money. That way, you cannot even know the family into which you are getting married. No, you can't. And so, the families break up because the background is not there. No. One of the reasons why we speak about families getting married, not two people getting married, is that African people, if you look at their way of thinking, they don't like immediate causes, what we call immediate causes. For example, if I have a child, yes, I have a child, but that child is a child of the family, is a child of the clan. That's why for those who know Uganda, when you say mwana wa bendi, you don't mean my child, you mean the child of the others, So it means this child here, okay, is mine because I'm the immediate biological mother or father, but in fact, this is a child of the family and of the clan. So in marriage, for example, the two people who get married are just representatives of the two families that are getting married to each other. This is why when the girl is going away, you know what they say when they are sending her off to get married? Don't be shameless. If it were a business of just two people, why do you say don't be shameless? Meaning you are getting married, but behind you there is a family. Behind you, there is a family. And sometimes that one, we even put it in other, let me say, cases. I remember myself, the first time I left Uganda to go to Kenya, I was going to what we call the novitiate in Kenya. And by chance, we came across Bishop Cyprian Chihangire, who was coming from Kenya, entering into Uganda. And I knew him, he knew me too, because I did my posttrans in Gulu. So he knew me very well. And he knew Father John Baptist, with whom we were going. We were surprised that his word to us, saying goodbye to us, and giving us his blessing, he just says, Temu tuswaza, if you would speak Luganda very well. Don't be shameless. So we are two boys going to Kenya for the novitiate. And here is a bishop, a leader of the church in Uganda, saying to us, don't be shameless. It means you are not just going for yourself. You are going for the whole Uganda. You are going for the whole Uganda, not for yourself. It is exactly the same in marriage. The girl is going not for herself, but for her family and the clan. And the man is receiving her, not for himself, but for the whole clan and for whole family and the whole clan. So if you feel, for example, the weight of the family behind you, the weight of the clan behind you, I tell you, you will check on your behavior. Because it's not a question of you. It's not a question of you. If you do something wrong, you are not the only one getting ashamed. It is the whole family. It is the whole clan. It is the whole clan. This is why you see our ancestors somehow, they left us some things that are very important and somehow we should keep. We should keep. What about, for example, the dowry? People have lost the meaning of dowry. They have lost it. Because some see it as a way of selling girls. Others see it, I don't know how. But the dowry is there as a guarantee of this marriage. We say, for example, that if you marry in church, you cannot divorce. It is true. But even in our ancestors, they put something that shows that marriage should last forever. Why? The dowry. The dowry. Take, for example, the people who pay cows when they get married. Just an example. And in the old days, things would go as far as 50 cows and so on. Now, when these cows come, you think they stay in the home of the new wife to that family? Certainly not. If in that family they are boys, they will take exactly the same cows for the marriage of those boys. So much so that should this marriage break up, it would be impossible to pay back the dowry. Now, this impossibility of paying back the dowry, in fact, is the sign for the stability of this marriage. It means that our ancestors used to make it impossible to divorce. Because you cannot pay back. The cows have gone already. That's it. This is why, excuse me when I refer especially to my own culture. Can you imagine a word like this? When your daughter is going away to get married and you say, "Oh, fanga noto da," meaning better die than coming back here. What does that mean? That marriage is to stay the whole life, for life. Do they want their daughter to die? Certainly not. He want her to be a woman of dignity, not one who goes from husband to husband. A woman of dignity, a mother, and so on and so forth. I can give you another example. That there is a newly, maybe after some 3 years, 4 years, the wife of a certain man went back to her home complaining, this man beats me, this man mistreats me, and so on and so forth. They just cannot stay with him. Do you know what the mother said? Instead of sympathizing with her, the mother just said, "Go back, you fool. Go back, you fool." How can you hear something like this? The daughter is saying, this man mistreats me. This man beats me. I cannot stay with him. And the mother says, "Go back, you fool." Is that a good mother? The thing is this. The mother asked the daughter, "Haven't you seen your father beat me? Do you think everything is a bed of roses for me in this family? But didn't I stay in this family and brought you up? Because I was afraid that if I would go away, your mother would marry another wife, maybe who would mistreat you. So I stayed, and you grew up, and you got married. Go back and do to your children what I did to you." You understand what this is? Yes, it asks a bit of heroism. And no one would look with good eyes to a husband who beats the wife. Certainly not. Who mistreats the wife. Certainly not. But there is a kind of heroism that our grandparents have exercised that maybe we should think about ourselves. Again, you see an element of family in that. The mother says, "I stayed here. I endured all the mistreatment, and I brought you up." This is a woman living for her children. Living for her children. And is telling the daughter to go and do the same. To go and do the same. Good. However, no one should go away saying that Father Kanyike wants us to go back to the old days. Certainly. Because while this kind of marriage, the marriage of our ancestors, really was stable and almost lasting one's whole life, there was something that should not be accepted now, especially in the church. In the old marriage, it is there. What is it? Our ancestors, even if they really left us very good manners to follow, very good elements to follow in the family, there was something terribly wrong in their way of thinking about marriage. It is what we call the garden mentality. And this is what I'm going to speak about. And for me, I think that our families are breaking up because the garden mentality is still in the heads, in the minds of the people, even up to now. The garden mentality. What is this garden mentality? It is this, that a woman, in fact, is seen as a garden. How? When you want to have a garden, the first thing you do is to buy a plot. Not so? You want a garden. The first thing you do is to buy a plot, okay? Good. What if when you want to get married, you collect the dowry? Then, once you have paid money for the plot becomes yours. It becomes yours. You are the owner of the plot. Yes. Now, in the case of a girl, who is the owner? The owner is the father. But when one comes and pays the dowry, the owner now is the husband. I just want you to compare these two things. I have called it garden mentality, that a woman, in fact, is seen as a garden. So the plot is bought, also the girl is bought with a dowry. The plot is given away, the girl is married off. Now, the very first negative aspect about this kind of marriage is this, that while the plot belongs to the one who bought it, he does not belong to the plot. In the same way, many African men believe that the wives they have belong to them, but they don't accept that they belong to the wives. They don't. It's like a plot. I have bought my plot, the plot belongs to me. But they don't believe that they belong to the wives. This is why they feel free to go whenever they want. Now, of course, as it happens, you buy a plot, you pay, it is given to you. In the end, you begin to cultivate and you get fruits. In marriage, the same. You procreate, you get children. And you even hear some men saying, if you want to go away, leave my children here. My children, as if the woman found them here. She did not find them here. She is equally a parent. Now, this depends very much on the culture. Because here in Uganda, we are patrilineal. To be patrilineal is to believe that the child belongs to the father and to his family and to his clan. But there are some other people who are matrilineal. For them, they believe that the child belongs to the mother and her family. I entered into that kind of thing when I was in Malawi. I was very much surprised, but I had to change my mentality. Anyway, here I'm speaking among patrilineal people. And this garden mentality is very, very strong. Because when a man buys a plot, he is free. But the plot is not free. The same. A man marries a girl, becomes his wife. He feels free to go where he wants, but not for the wife. Why? Because when a plot is built, the one who did not buy the plot cannot plant seeds, cannot have fruits from it. Yeah? This will tell you, for example, the reason why many people don't condemn the adultery of a husband. Instead, they condemn the adultery of the wife. When a man has children outside the marriage, it's not a big deal. But now, DNA has brought problems, and I think the Ugandan parliament is going even to write a law against going for the DNA test. I think you have heard this. Why? Because if you consider your wife as a plot which belongs to you, but you don't belong to it, you are free, while the plot is not free at all. At all. Usually, the plot is at the mercy of the one who buys it. But if you look the other side, it's the same. It's the same. When you hear a story, oh, so-and-so has beaten up his wife, many people feel it's not a big deal. But should you hear the opposite, that so-and-so has beaten badly her husband, everyone begins to say, hey, this is impossible. This is impossible. Why do you accept it one side and you don't accept it the other? Because you believe that this wife here, in fact, is a garden and not a human being. Another problem is that when you buy a plot, you can abandon it at your will. You can buy another plot and keep 2. You can buy another plot and keep 3, or even 1. If you see that it does not produce much, you can even abandon it. The same in this garden mentality. The same when one sees that the wife does not produce children, divorce. Divorce. Because it's like a garden that does not produce anything, and you think that the money you used to buy it was wasted. Was wasted. But this is exactly what happens. And people come here at the altar to have their marriage blessed, but they still have the garden mentality. And so this marriage will break up. It will not remain. It will not remain. It will not remain. Because Christian marriage is based on love. And if you have the garden mentality, certainly love is not there. There are only interests. Interests. Now, this mentality breeds something that is very bad in the families. Very bad, in fact. With that kind of mentality, you will have a husband who is like this. A husband who only loves his children. A husband who listens only to his relatives. A husband who obeys only to his parents. A husband who enjoys life with his friends. Now, with all that, where is the wife? If one loves his children, if one listens only to his relatives, if one obeys only to his parents, if one only enjoys life, going drinking, you go to watch football and so on with your friends, and where is the wife? In the garden mentality, this is the kind of husband that you are going to have. Now tell me how that kind of family will really be stable, will be a happy one, will even last until life. Impossible. Impossible. Why? Because while in the old days, people used to accept this mentality, even women themselves were accepting that kind of mentality because they were born into it. They had nothing to do. But now, elements of freedom have come up. Even the Bible teaches us about this freedom. And so there is a kind of resistance. How can I be like a garden? How can I be treated like a thing? But you know that while we say, okay, this kind of mentality somehow is on the side of the man, what about the side of the woman? The problem is that she also was born in that kind of mentality, and she considers herself to be what the other considers herself to be. I will give you an example. I was still a deacon. In fact, it was in Pakwach. And we were going around into Christian families, asking questions, teaching them and so on, seeing if they can come back to the church, those who had come out, and so on. So at the end of our talk, we asked them, you have been together, you have children, we see them here. Why don't you get married in church? The one who replied was the wife. He said, fude nyomadenga. Meaning that this man has not even married me. So tell me what marriage means. They have been together for years. They have children, and the wife says, he has not yet married me. What did she mean? He has not paid anything. He has not paid anything. So somehow she even feels proud of being paid for, because she was born in that kind of mentality, that kind of mentality. Yes, and families now have begun to break up because of a bit of a change of mentality. Yeah. The problem we find here is that people contract Christian marriages with the old mentality. Now, since both Christianity and the modern mentality do not accept the garden mentality, and yet many African husbands still keep it, marriages tend to end. There are some people who don't accept that mentality anymore. Yeah. Another obstacle to the stability of marriage is the incompatibility of characters. Incompatibility of characters. People get married without knowing that their characters cannot match. Why? Sometimes because they don't give themselves ample time to know each other. To know each other. And if you want a partner for marriage, don't look for the good things in him or her. In fact, look for the weaknesses in him or her. Because the good things, they are not problems. The problems are the weaknesses. Once you find that you can bear with these weaknesses, that's your wife take. That's your husband take. Because you know, when you ask a certain boy who is going to get married, describe to me your fiancée, how is she? He's going to tell all the good things about her, all the good things about her, not knowing that those good things, yes, they are there. Good manners, hardworking, and so on and so forth, hospitality, and so on and so forth, they will help the family. But you have also to look at the weaknesses. If you see that you cannot bear those weaknesses, even the good things you will not bear them. But if you see that you can bear with them, then you can stay with that person. Those who find out only after they have got married that so and so, my husband has this weakness, has this weakness, has this weakness, I cannot bear it, they didn't know that they shouldn't have got married in the first place. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. So it is important to know each other very, very well before you get married. Now we can take an element of the old marriage. Get known to the family. Get known to the relatives of the person you would like to stay with. And in the end, when you see that you know the person very well, you know even the family very well and so on, then you can get married. Many marriages break because of that. People who have characters that don't match can get married and live together for life only if they have deep faith. Without that, it is impossible. Impossible. Another problem is that some people mistake attraction for love. One thing is attraction, another is love. Attraction comes because of physical features. It could also come because of behavior and so on and so forth. It could also come because of talents, the talents that one has got. He's a good singer, he's a good footballer, he's a good netballer, and so on and so forth. All these things can cause attraction, but love is a different thing. It's a different thing. One thing that is complicated about love is that it is given without calculation. You just feel that you love the person. You just feel that you love the person. And you can even bear with all the weaknesses. Take, for example, if you want to have a good example of love, our parents. Our parents are not the best people in the world, and we know it. How come that we love them, despite the weaknesses that they have? That's it. Our children, well, we love them simply because they are our children. That kind of love is automatic. Yes, but it's different from attraction. Yeah? Another point is that some people get married for the wrong reasons. They get married for the wrong reasons. Maybe even here I should give you an example that happened in Malawi when a certain boy and his fiancée, they came to register for marriage. I put the boy aside and I asked him, why do you want to get married? He said, yes, now I'm grown up. When people grow up, they get married. I said, look at me. Am I not grown up? Am I not old? But am I married? Then the boy looked for another reason. He said, look, I'm a businessman. I go around doing business. But my house is empty. My house is empty. I would like to, to have my house in order and my house secure, because there is someone there since I'm not always at home. I said, but if you want your house to be secure, why don't you hire a watchman? Why don't you hire a watchman? And if you want your house to be always in order, very tidy, why don't you hire a housemaid? Many also said, look, Father, there is another reason. As I've told you that I'm a businessman. But now, since I have no wife, I waste my money. I waste my money. I don't want to waste my money anymore. Then I told him, look, if you want your money to be secure. Take it to the bank. Take the money to the bank. It will be secure. No problem. No problem. Then lastly, not even lastly, as a grown-up person, because if I remain like this without wife, people will never honor me. I said, look at me once again. Don't people honor me? Don't people respect me? But have I ever got married? The poor boy thought that this man who never got married, I think, wants to prevent me from getting married. But that was not the case. I wanted the boy to marry for the right reasons. Christian marriage is not for children. Christian marriage is not for keeping money. Christian marriage is not for keeping the house. Christian marriage is not for honors, respect, and so on. It is a different thing. God who created me and has seen that I cannot really carry out the reason why he created me alone, wants me to get a helper as he did for Adam. So that Eve may help Adam to fulfill the reason why God created him. And Adam will do the same to help Eve to fulfill the reasons, the purpose why God created him. And if the both of them do that, we'll have a Christian marriage, we'll have a marriage that will be stable, we'll have a marriage that will last. That is it. Now, there is a dilemma about the role of the family members in the marriage. Two people have got married. Like in the old days, the family, the clan should play a role in this marriage. But there is a problem there. There is a problem there. The problem is this, that some members of the family, even if during the wedding they are very happy, they dance and so on and so forth, maybe their aim is to exploit this family, especially if this family has got some means, have got some money. So instead of helping this family, these people to stay together, they just want to exploit them. To exploit them. And so now, if, for example, in Africa, these are problems really, and they would take even too long, by the way, to explain. I'll be cutting things short. When, as an African, you build a very large house somewhere or in town, but in that house you live only with your wife and maybe 2 or 3 children, what will your relatives do? They are going to send your nephews, your nieces, your cousins, and so on to fill that house. Now, problem will come in this way. Are we going to keep children coming from the wife's side or from the husband's side? Sometimes the impossibility of satisfying both sides, it breaks the marriage up. Breaks the marriage up. Yeah. So, the element that used to be there of the whole family, helping this new family, should be kept, yes, but not for exploitation. Egoism spoils things always. Egoism spoils things always. What helps is this spirit of helping the other, of developing the other. Otherwise, you will hear that this one has gone out of the marriage because of the relatives of the husband. This one has sent away his wife because of the relatives Things like this. It is not good for these people just to say, okay, marriage is ours like it is in the West. No. But it is very good for the members of the family to see to it that they help this family instead of just exploiting it. Yes. I think maybe I have spoken too much. If there are some questions. Yes, but maybe before I give you the microphone, there is something that I want you to understand. I don't even know how to explain it so that it may be understood. Do you know the reason why sometimes there are polemics, there are conflicts between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law? Yeah, the reason is, let me call it, it is anthropological, meaning it is deep in the heart of man. Sometimes you even find that the whole family gangs up against the wife that their brother has brought. Sometimes. Let me tell you, the reason is this. When we have, for example, let's take the example of a boy, young man, we as a family, what is our duty towards this young man here? What is our duty? To keep him alive. Okay? That's our duty. And that's the duty of the family for all members of the family. Okay. So now, this young man, for us as a family, we try our best to keep him alive. We help him with everything possible so that he may stay alive. But now, there is someone who is not one of us, who stays with him during the two moments when a human being is most vulnerable. Can anyone guess those moments? What are those two moments that a human being is most vulnerable? Meaning he's helpless, cannot protect himself. There are two moments. When he's sleeping and when he's eating. These are the two. And those moments, who stays with him? His wife. His wife. It is very difficult to protect anyone from his wife as from the husband on the other side. So these people who have this young man, their son, their brother, and so on, somehow they don't trust very much the wife he has married, because the wife is a stranger in this family, is not a relative. Maybe this is why some people practice what we call endogamy, meaning marriage among relatives. So why do you hear people saying, no, everything he gives to his wife does not give to us. Everything he does for his wife does not. Deep in the mind, those are the two reasons. Those are the two reasons. We have to keep our brother alive, but there is this wife. When you go to matrilineal societies, it is the same, but on the side of the woman. Because in matrilineal societies, it is difficult for us, people who come from these cultures, to understand them. Do you know, for example, that in Malawi, when you marry a wife, first of all, you have to go to the home of the wife and build a house there and marry her there, one. Secondly, when you go there, the children you will have, they don't belong to you. They belong to their uncle, who is the brother of the wife. And should there pass 3 years without any child, the husband will be sent away. The husband will be sent away. He will be told that he's barren. For them, a woman is automatically fruitful. As we think here that a man is automatically fruitful, but there, a woman is automatically fruitful. So the man, they will tell him, "Nyamulani katundu muzipita, they take your goods and go because you are barren." So as we sort of feel bad towards maybe the wife our brother has married, so they feel it for their sister or for their daughter. So the mentality somehow is the same, only in different ways. Yeah. So I think those are the things that I think break up families, because for me, family is nothing else but the unity of those who get married, and through their unity, the unity of two families that have got married. Thank you very much.
At this moment, I know it is getting late mostly for the students. But if you have any question, you can. Are they writing down the question? Yes. You can give the question to Madam Esther, and then Father will attend to it. We are going to try to be brief, that they don't beat you at home. Okay?
You read question by question, then I ask.
The first question is, apart from love and making a good family, what other right reasons should someone have to get married?
Okay, repeat.
And apart from love,
Yes.
and making a good family, what other right reasons should someone have to get married?
Okay. You remember very well what I said, and for me, when I speak of marriage now, I speak mainly of Christian marriage. Now, the real reason I gave, it is really love, okay, creating a family, but especially helping your partner to go to heaven, to say it in a very simple way. Because if you ask, why did God create you? God created you so that you may know him, love him, serve him, and then be happy with him forever in heaven. This is the reason. Now, when God saw that you cannot do it yourself, then he gives you a wife or a husband who will help you. You remember in the Bible? What does the Bible say? Let us make for him a helpmate. Okay? Let us make for him a helpmate. Not a slave, not a worker, a helpmate, a helpmate. It means that one will help him to fulfill those reasons, to know God, to love him, to serve him, and to be with him forever in heaven. That is. So, apart from saying, okay, love is there, and it is mentioned, creating a family is there, but the main reason for marriage is what I have just told you. That's very, very important. If we get married and each one is only looking for his own things, or for her own things, that marriage will not be a happy one. A marriage that is happy is, I am there for you, and you are there for me. And the children, we shall be there for the children, and so on. They say that, look, you could say, well, you speak about marriage, but you are not married. Yes, I'm not married. Because have you seen a football team? Yeah? Which team do you? Man U? Okay, for me it is Chelsea. Arsenal?
Man U.
Okay. You have seen Arsenal and Man U playing football, okay? Now, if you have seen them, have you seen the coach going down to play football? The coach? But he's the one who shows them how to play, not so. He's the one who chooses the players, not so. But does he go down to play?
No.
That is me. Marriage is like a game of football. I am the coach. I don't play football.
Okay, I can note the other side.
Okay, but are we not disturbing them with our
I think we end with this question.
Okay.
We shall have the last question, because the last two, they seem alike. What is my role as a child to keep my family? Let us go through them together.
Yeah.
All of them together. What is my role as a child to keep my family together? And then what does the Bible say or tell us to do in such problems that break up families? Then how can we bring back that lost love between families? And then the last, what should be done to resolve the family breakup? I think these two are the same. I think they are all like,
They are a bit the same. You are asking. Okay. So you people, you come here. Come here. Because if you come here, I can even speak without microphone.